Please welcome to the stage Candace Klein, founder and CEO, Somo Lend, Kate Drain, engagement lead, Indiegogo, Chance Barnett, co-founder and CEO, Crowdfunder, Justin Bachman, product director of Community Leader, Lorenzo Major, president, Skell, Inc., and our moderator, Jason Nazar, co-founder and CEO of DocStock.
So we come to our last panel of the day. I think we can get a little bit more energy, right? Yeah. I like it. The crowdfunders. If everyone would like to go ahead and take out a $20 bill, we're actually going to crowdfund somebody here today. It may be me. I'm not saying it won't be or it will be, but so let's start by a round of introductions. I'll be asking the questions and not saying anything of value other than that. My name is Jason. I co-found and I run a company here in Southern California called DocStock, where 20 million people a month come to get help starting and growing their businesses. Let's do a quick round of introductions, and then we will jump on into the questions.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Candace Klein, and I am a securities attorney by trade, recovering securities attorney. My first startup company, I'm founder and CEO of a company called Bad Girl Ventures, which is a microfinance company that invests in female founders. And I'm also now the founder and CEO of Somo Lend, which is a debt-based crowdfunding platform that allows small businesses to raise money from friends and family and provide an interest rate return. And I'm actively working with Chance and others with the SEC on creating the regulations for this new industry.
Hi, I'm Kate Drain, and I'm an engagement lead with Indiegogo, working specifically with small businesses, helping them to educate and empower small business owners to create amazing crowdfunding campaigns. I learned about Indiegogo because I ran a campaign for my small business last fall. My small business is called the Can Ban. It's a mobile beer canning service for craft breweries. So if you need to know about good beer, I may or may not be able to help you.
Or at least taste the beer.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Chance Barnett, co-founder and CEO of Crowdfunder, crowdfunder.com. I'm a serial internet startup founder. I love helping startup and small business founders at early stages. I've had a few successful companies, a few not so successful companies, which is an important piece of entrepreneurship. That's to say, I'm really excited that my new role at Crowdfunder is I get to help startup business owners like yourselves at scale. We're really focused on business crowdfunding. So in this world where there was donations to campaign projects, now there will be investment in real companies. That's what we're focused on. I'm also a contributor on Forbes on crowdfunding, and I don't know, I do some other stuff too.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Justin Bachman. I work for a company called Community Leader, which the team that I work with is developing platforms for small businesses and entrepreneurs to raise money in the equity-based crowdfunding space. So our passion is working with small businesses to go down the road towards crowdfunding.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorenzo Majori, and I invented the Bug Assault. And I use the platform of Indiegogo to launch the product and raise money for the company, which is Skell Inc.
Cool. All right, so we'll jump in and have a bunch of different questions. Sometimes I'll open up a question to the panel. Sometimes I'll direct it to one of you. Chance, my first question is, why did you get the short chair, lower than everybody else? Let's start off with so platforms like Indiegogo, Kickstarter have been around to help people with a variety of projects. Now there's this new wave of crowdfunding platforms that are specifically trying to help people as potentially the rules and regulations change around the ability to reach out equity investors. Chance, Karen, Kate, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Sure.
Just where crowdfunding started and where it's going now.
Sure. So in November of last year, there was a framework created by a couple of great guys, namely Jason Best, Woody Neese, and Zach. Startup exemption. A couple of entrepreneurs who had raised collectively among themselves $87 million in capital and returned that to investors several times over were very successful. They went out in 2008 to raise money for a company when the capital markets had fallen apart. VCs weren't lending, angels weren't lending, banks weren't lending, and they were unable to get funded by the same funds that they had given their 10x return to. That really frustrated them and pissed them off. And they decided to do something about it, not for their own benefit, but for the benefit of society, which was, let's create crowdfund investing. Why can't we do this? So there's been some great stories of other people participating. They just happened to be, I think, at the right place at the right time and got in the right offices in Capitol Hill. So what's happened since November of last year is a variety of bills have passed. What that really means is that for the first time, there's going to be a revolution in finance that's going to take place that allows everyday people to become investors in early stage companies. And a lot of people don't know that. You were precluded if you're not an existing wealthy, sophisticated investor, just by your amount of wealth, that you had no access to participating in funding companies in your local community unless you already knew people. That has now changed by law, but what we're waiting for is regulation, for that to be compliant with the law and regulated under the SEC so that investors are protected. I don't want to take up the whole panel, but I want to say there's a series of things rolling out that are about to come online and create this revolution and bring it into reality. The first of which is rulings that allow the existing class of accredited investors, the existing quote-unquote sophisticated wealthy people, to see these crowdfunded offerings and invest in them exclusively in a private environment. That will likely happen over the next couple of months, probably before the end of the year. So you'll see some of those things start to happen. Subsequent after that, probably over the next couple of quarters, we'll see more general crowdfunding, meaning you and I, everyone in this room, can see companies that are making offerings and non-accredited people can invest in that. So that's kind of where the legislation is at. If you look at the success of crowdfunding platforms like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, that validates the model. Now we're moving into this investment equation that gets added into crowdfunding. So I think you're going to see some really exciting things happen.
All right, so let's just get to the chase of some stuff. Does this crowdfunding thing really work, right? Who does it work for, and who should be using crowdfunding? So, I mean, Lorenzo, it worked for you, right? Like, yeah, how did it work? Like, how much money did you raise for your product?
I had a goal of 15,000, and I raised 578,000.
Oh, you raised, wow, that's pretty impressive. And where did that jump up come from? Because at first, right, you put up your project on Indiegogo, and you're saying it to your friends and family and people you know.
Yeah, that was it at the beginning. It was just friends and family supporting me. And then I think Reddit got a hold of it and posted it. And from then on, it just went completely crazy. And from Reddit, Yahoo got a hold of it and did, I think Bill Weirs did a story on it. And then it would just keep going crazier and crazier.
Okay, how many folks have raised money on Indiegogo so far?
So thousands of people start a campaign every week, and we have we've had hundreds of thousands of campaigns started, and we distribute millions of dollars every month.
Of the hundreds of thousands of campaigns started, what percentage would you say actually, because Indiegogo, you don't have to hit a threshold, right? Any amount you raise, you have access to those funds?
You can choose to either have a fixed campaign where unless you reach your goal or exceed it, then you take home your money. Usually that's for if you have a product and you have to hit that goal or otherwise you can't go. So that's why people would pick a fixed campaign, or you can have flexible where... What percent of the folks on Indiegogo do you think have gotten some meaningful amount of money towards their goal? Not everyone that creates a campaign gets money, right? Right, and they receive money if they have a flexible campaign, then they would take home whatever they raised. In terms of a success rate, I'm not sure what the exact rate is, but I know that so for example, I raised money and we raised $4,000 out of a $10,000 goal, and for us that was successful because it helped market validation, it helped to bring in.
So who is crowdfunding good for? What are the good kind of projects, ideas that it's good for? And then what are the things that people can do other than get on the front page of Reddit that will help them be successful with crowdfunding? Okay, so what kind of projects? So for a project to be successful on Indiegogo, typically, so you're drawing from your community and your community's community, and you're building a groundswell of support behind your idea or project. And so when you touch somebody in a way that incites them to action and incites them to want to participate, that's what's a successful project. So if you can create that feeling of engagement and create that feeling of community, that's what's going to help you more. So if you have a project and you're like, I need money, you're not going to necessarily be as successful if you're like, hey, get involved with me and be part of this reality and help make this dream come alive and make it personal for people. Got it. And Candace, why the debt model? It seems like a lot of these folks are like either donation-based or now equity-based. What was your thought process with actually making loans?
There's a couple of things that came into my thought process. First, I guess, is my first business. With Bad Girl Ventures, we've had thousands now of women come through our program. It's a school, it's a 9-week program that ends with a $25,000 low-interest loan. And I've directly invested in about 39 companies through that business, but we had thousands come through our program. What we were doing for them originally was sending them to Indiegogo to set up campaigns. And so I've actually coached a lot of my businesses to have campaigns, and many of them have been successful. But what we were learning about these women when they were going through our program was they were raising money from their mentors, their advisors, the faculty members in our classes, and they were lending money to them under the table, which is awesome, except for the fact that that doesn't ever help them become bankable. What I love about Indiegogo is it gets people started. What I think we do is we're the next step. So once you raise your first $500,000 online, how do you actually get to scale? How do you get to the first big box, should you choose to go down that path? Many times you don't have that money readily available to you. But the same people who invested in you or who donated to you on Indiegogo would very likely invest in you if they could get a return on their investment. The reason I chose debt is because I believe that startups, while they're important, they're not actually who's going to take most advantage of the crowdfunding platforms. It's going to be the bricks and mortar businesses, the companies that you see every day.
What are the debt terms? How do those get structured?
So on our platform, we've had about 1,300 borrowers sign up on our platform so far since our beta launched in May of this year. And typically, the borrower is 1 to 2 years old. They're typically seeking about $150,000. Our typical funded loan right now is about $50,000 to $75,000.
And is there collateralization? Do they put up any personal guarantees? Is there any property they...
Every loan has a personal guarantee. The collateralization depends upon the lender. So the lender may choose to upload their own loan docs and then require collateralization. But what I will tell you is the individuals, when we roll out to individuals, those will not be collateralized loans. And so if you can raise your entire amount of money that you need from your own customers, friends, and family, now you're not having to collateralize that debt.
All right, so let's crowdfund this a little bit. How many folks here are currently looking to raise money? All right, we got about a third of you. And how many of you would be open or interested in doing it on a crowdfunding platform? All right, pretty much all of you. So open discussion to the panel. What's going to work for them? How are they going to maximize their chance of raising money on crowdfunding? And what won't work? Where won't they be successful with crowdfunding that they should know ahead of time?
So I think one of the really critical pieces in what I think is the crowdfunding 2.0 world, crowdfunding will now include investment, whether it's equity or it's debt. That's a different value proposition. The same things are true in the existing crowdfunding 1.0 model. There's what we're referring to or alluding to, which is social capital. So what's that community? Why do they care? Why are they interested? Why does it become a headline on a cool blog? That gets you traction, it gets more people interested, and that builds your social capital. And then there was the existing pitch. So they had a really cool video, that helps. Those are the same assets that are true and that you'll need in crowdfunding for businesses, but there's a third piece of the puzzle, and that's the investor return. And so now you're gonna see a different set of analysis. Looking to fund a crowdfunding campaign right now with $50 is kind of an impulse transaction. Those people can build a relationship, but if you're if you're the business owner and you're asking someone to put $2,000 of their hard-earned money into your company, they're probably not going to do it in the 2 days that they've heard about your campaign and made an impulse decision. It's going to look like investing actually looks, which is that you're going to build a relationship with those people. You're going to give updates on what's happening. You're going to build traction in their mind about why you're a successful founder. You're going to show them your team and your plan. And then you're going to close them at some point with the idea of that investment return. And so while the value proposition is really similar mechanically, there's a page, there's a raise, the relationship you need to build is a bit different. And so that's one of the things that's going to be different in this environment. If you're a business owner, not everyone has a cool consumer product that will pitch well and sell well on the headlines of a blog or an Indiegogo. That doesn't mean that you don't have a great value proposition and that you don't have a great investment return model. So what we'll start to see is more of a focus on teams and plans.
So Justin, if you took this from like the theoretical, like trend-based, like really nitty-gritty practical, what works on crowd-funding platforms and what doesn't work and why?
I think I would agree a lot with what Chase just said. I think what we're trying to focus on as part of this rollout is getting the getting the businesses in a position to be successful. So working with the businesses to develop the business plan, you know, go down the list and make sure that, like any successful business would have all of these things done, you know, insurance, whatever it is, and getting the business in a position to be successful so that the investors are going to see a return.
Okay. So everyone help me out. We're going to come back to trends and everything. Let's get really specific. The folks here are going to want to go on one or all of your platforms. They're going to upload information to their business. After they do that, what's actually going to help them get funds for their company?
Well, first, I think if you're interested in doing crowdfunding, a security-based crowdfunding, so debt or equity, you need to get really comfortable with the amount of information that you're going to have to give up to the public. So you need to think about the fact that you're going to have to give up your business plan and your financial projections. You're going to get a criminal background check and a credit background check on every single one of your owners, your directors of your company. You're going to have to get very comfortable with the fact that not only the SEC, but that the general public is going to have some access to that information. And so I think that's going to be one of the big differentiators that will help you decide.
I believe you have to also upload your high school yearbook photo. Is that correct? is that part of the?
What were you most likely to do? No, but I think that that's one piece that a lot of the entrepreneurs I'm working with are so afraid of giving up their secret sauce. They don't want to share what they're doing. Get over it. You're going to have to. And that's something that I think it's good for you to start getting comfortable with over the next few months.
It's good Laura Lee advice. Get over it. It's like the Tony Soprano of Laura Lee advice. So what else? What else specifically is going to work to help folks get money?
Go ahead. I've been hogging the time now.
So I would say, having a campaign on Indiegogo, what we found, I'll just give you a couple best practices. Is that helpful?
Perfect.
Okay, so we found that you raise your first 30% of your goal from your friends and family, and so that creates that groundswell of support that it moves that bar below your total just a little bit more, so it legitimizes it in the eyes of future contributors. And so we found that sometimes people shoot themselves in the foot when they launch their campaign. They do this big media launch as well. They tell all the blogs, they tell big news publications, they tell a lot of people, and because it doesn't look like the campaign is successful. So say Candace was about to start a campaign and she's like, everybody come to my campaign, and then I went to it and there was $100, and I'm like, did your mom not even want to connect with your campaign? And so you need that legitimacy. We've also found that having a video, you raise 114% more money if you 114% more money if you have a video associated with your campaign. 3 to 8 perks. I have all kinds of best practices. You can email me.
What doesn't work? What are mistakes people make? Lorenzo, did you do anything where you changed the campaign, or when you look at other people's campaigns, do you think like, oh, that's so stupid that they're doing that?
Well, I just was pretty much honest with where I was coming from. I told my story and where I was at, and I was pretty sincere about the whole thing. And then when we'd get people, we would thank them and keep them, informed on what we were doing.
What was the average donation that people were making?
It was anywhere from 30 to 165 to 2,500.
What do you think motivated folks? I mean, because in their case, there's no return. Like they don't like. What motivated somebody to want to give you 100 of their dollars to make your business? We
were actually pre-selling the device.
So they were buying it. Okay,
yes.
So they were actually.
So they had different options.
Customers.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about this. Let's dive into this. So are people using crowdfunding platforms? Are folks raising money through crowdfunding through pre-sales? So now you have an obligation a contractual obligation to send the product to them?
To fulfill the people that ordered the bug assaults.
Got it.
So I want to make a quick, using the word donation creates some sort, it's not a correct term, it's contribution. What we say is contribution because it's contributing to a campaign. And what crowdfunding does, at least with the perks-based program, is that it allows you to have a dynamic relationship with your audience. And so you can offer things, and instead of just having say I'm a musician, and normally you'd just be like, pay $10 to buy my CD, pay $25 to go to my show. Now people can get engaged in a different level in a way that they never had available to them before, to be like the person to hold the boom mic, and a job that no one would ever want to do, but some person put up a film campaign and was like, hey, you can be the person to hold the boom mic, and someone paid $1,000 for that. And they're like, really? that job sucks. Okay, yeah, hold the boom mic, come on. But so there's an exchange happening, and that's why it's not just you are donating to a business.
So you can set the rules of if you contribute, then here's this quid pro quo, you're going to get this in return.
Correct.
Like sometimes people do like a signed autograph or.
Correct.
Right.
One of the things that you brought up, and we've talked about it, with the bad girls that I've coached through crowdfunding campaigns, one of the things that we always say is get that 30% up front to be your friends and family, and have that when you start your campaign, that you've got 30% of your campaign already funded on day one. What that does is two things. First of all, it makes it look like you're a winner when you send out your press release, but second of all, it tells those people who don't know you that you have a moral obligation to at least 30% of the people who've given you money. Sure. So if you are pre-selling, and you're pre-selling to your friends and family first, that actually sends a message that you've got a moral contract already in place.
Justin, Chance, is there a sweet spot for crowdfunding? I mean, are people going to be raising $2 million in crowdfunding? Like what's that kind of sweet spot for people to raise money?
Well, there's actual caps set by the law. $1 million is the cap for the most you can raise for one company in a year. You'll also see behavior kind of stratified within that based on...
And is that something they're still debating, or is that kind of set law for a while?
It's $1 million.
That's the law. And then, do you know the other specifics?
Well, I think the specifics are still being, they're not published yet. But the concept is that there may be different levels of financial disclosure for different amounts that you're raising.
Oh, there definitely is, and that's actually already set by law
Okay.
too. So if you're raising up to $100,000, you're only required to provide CEO-approved financials. If you're raising from $100,000 to $500,000, you have to provide accountant-reviewed financial statements. And if you're raising more than $500,000, between $500,000 and $1 million, you have to provide audited financials. So that's set by law as well.
So that'll shape the raises. As well, I think a lot of people will go out and want more money, and you have to look at the dynamics of your campaign. Indiegogo might be a little different. But if you're an all or none situation, which by the way, securities-based raises, if you're raising equity or debt, will likely be closer to all or none, meaning if you don't reach 100% of your goal, you can't take in your money. That will shape what people do when they're offering and should shape what you think about. What is the need that you're raising for?
About
exactly.
what you think you can raise.
Are there going to be standard? So on crowdfunder.com, it's equity-based platform, right? So let's say, say Candace, you're raising equity instead of debt. And so you're raising $500,000.
I am raising equity. I'll go to Crowdfunders.
Great.
It's legal. Yeah.
And so she's raising $500,000, and you want to raise it, let's say, in tranches of $25,000. Are the deal docs that she's going to do for the financing, are you trying to create a standardized set of docs across everybody, or is everyone just going to have their own deal docs? And who creates those? Is it an attorney on the side of the business owner, or the
like
platform
22
self do that?
questions you just asked. Yeah. Fair warning.
Yeah.
That's a lot of questions.
I'll jump into it. I'll say what was envisioned under the law was that crowdfunding platforms are a third party that just helps make an exchange of what you as a business owner want to raise with, and here's my offer, and what an investor says yes to or no to. However, standardization will make the process more efficient, and us as crowdfunding platforms have an interest in that because ideally it helps you make a raise, make better decisions potentially, and then it helps more capital flow through the system, and potentially better outcomes, I would hope. So one of the possibilities is to, and we're looking at this, create something like a series crowdfund set of documents like there already is in the Series Seed if you're a tech investor. And that becomes somewhat of a standard. But we're not in the business of giving advice, nor are we attorneys or service shops. That's really something founders have to figure out for themselves, and it's always on a case-by-case basis. So what we do want to do is create a marketplace for you for the right people so that you can go and get those docs done without paying an arm and a leg to an attorney. Not that I don't like attorneys, but I've paid them enough money in my life. I don't think you should have to. I've already paid them.
I don't like attorneys either.
Yeah. Said as an attorney. There you go.
One of the things, if you're an entrepreneur who's looking at doing an equity or debt crowd fundraise, is to put together your own board of advisors right now and to get an investor to sit on your board of advisors, someone who has looked at term sheets before, somebody who's not necessarily investing in your company, but who can be your advocate as it relates to putting together your terms, because it's a scary thing. I've raised money for my business, and it's really scary to say, okay, I'm going to offer you 10% of my company for $50,000. I don't even know what that means. It's really helpful for you to have someone on your team, on your board of advisors, who's been through that before.
Let's go back to what doesn't work. What mistakes people make? What things do they do as they go into the crowdfunding process that's going to lead them to not be successful?
I think one of the things that is pretty apparent, especially after talking to Lorenzo backstage for a while, is did you say 3 years you spent developing this product?
Yeah, it was 3 years.
A lot of work and effort.
A lot of focus on developing
Sweat equity.
the product.
Yeah.
So bring it.
Do you have the product with you? Is it in the
do.
back? Go, bring it out. Let's check this thing out.
Are there any flies in here? Can we?
We can shoot each other. So that'd be fun.
I think what it is that there. I mean, there's effort and there's equity that needs to go into this.
Well, one of the things that people do all the time on my platform is they'll say, I have an idea, I want $1 million. That just doesn't happen. And I think if you've created a prototype, that's really helpful. If you've actually thought through your full business plan, if you've gotten through your first couple of sales at least, that's going to really help you out when it's time. Oh.
Amazing.
Lorenzo, you brought one of these for the entire audience, right? You should be
Well,
pitching. You should be pitching your own
Lorenzo
product.
told me that he's going to let me take one through the airport and see if I can get it on the airplane.
So, real quick, this thing shoots flies, right?
Yeah,
Industrial size mutant flies that are the size of your face that you need a gun to kill. This is really cool.
It's pretty amazing.
What's this called again? So where can people buy this? Bug Assault, and they can go what? Bugassault.com?
Bugassault.com.
Bug-a-salt?
Bug-a-salt.
All right,
Or
I like
it's just
it.
all, you can just punch it in all.
Are you still up on Indiegogo?
No, that ended, I think 9/11 it ended.
What's the average length that a business is live on your platform?
45 days.
45 days, that's it, wow.
And we found that campaigns hit their goal on day 37 of a 45-day campaign.
Wow, that doesn't seem like a very long time.
It creates that sense of urgency.
Oh, and so there's like a ticking clock that's saying, okay, this campaign's going to end at this time.
Like 60 hours left, get in.
This is actually a really good point, especially for crowdfunding investing in the future. One of the best things you'll learn if you talk to people who are really great at raising money and who've done it a lot of times is that urgency is one of the best things to have, as long as it's real, and learning how to ask for the deal.
That's a really good point.
A lot of people have no experience asking investors for money. So when you're tasked with doing it as a founder of a company, you think you know what you're doing, but you don't even know what it sounds like. So there's a language to deals that investors speak. I was just pitching venture capitalists yesterday, and the funny thing is they can walk into a room and talk about stuff that doesn't even sound like a business, and then they understand everything that they think the business is about in about 2 minutes. You know, what's a pre-money valuation? How big is the team? What market are they in? Where are they now? How much capital have they raised? How many people are in? Like, that set of stuff done. If you can speak that language or start to speak that language a little bit, you're going to speak to investors in a different way. Now, I know you're not trying to get venture capital money, but you are trying to, if you're raising $50,000 for your business and it's debt, you need to be able to speak to what your deal terms are.
And actually, there's a great tool online for you that's free. It's called the Canaan Pitch Book, C-A-N as in Nancy, A-A-N as in Nancy, Pitch Book. Google it. This is what the pitch should look like for any investor. I make all of my bad girls use the pitch book. I've used it when raising VC money myself. Whether you're going for debt or equity, or even if you're doing a campaign on Indiegogo, it's a great way of organizing your thoughts that answer the questions of people who are seeking to invest in you.
Great.
And
It's the Canaan, C-A-N as in Nancy, A-A-N as in Nancy, pitch book. I feel like they should pay me for this because I pitch them all the time.
wait, I wanted to build off of something that you just said in terms of something that what I see with crowdfunding people that perhaps a pitfall. Just learn from this experience. I recently went to a party with one of my friends who has a crowdfunding campaign, and we had 45 of our friends there, and he was like, I feel like I'm getting a lot of warm and fuzzies from a lot of people, but no, it's not turning into dollars. And I was like, well, John, how many of these people have, like, these are 45 of our good friends who are interested in what you're doing. How many of them have contributed? He's like, none. And I was like, well, what are you going to do about that? You're in this situation. These are our friends. How are you going to transform this interaction into dollars? And so I encouraged him to go actually be specific and talk to people about his project. But he's like, I don't like asking for money.
So here's a trick that worked for my bad girls. So how many of you guys have ever worked in nonprofits or been to a nonprofit fundraiser? We've all been to a fundraiser, right? Where at the end they hand you an envelope and they say, please write a check. Why don't you do that for your own business? One of the things that my bag girls have done on Indiegogo that's been very helpful is they have parties that are Indiegogo parties where they actually bring 30 of their friends and they hand out the information. They say, I want you to all, pull out your phones, log onto your laptops right now and make a contribution. You can drink my beer, you can eat my food, but before you leave my house tonight, you will have made a contribution to this campaign.
That's awesome.
That is extremely helpful, and it's worked a lot of times.
Are there cupcakes and cookies and all that good stuff?
Depends on the party.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
All right, so again, raise your hand if you are currently interested in trying to use crowdfunding for your business. All right, I think you stand up over there, right there. No, please, yeah. What's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Yes.
And Jennifer, what's your business?
I do birthday parties, educational parties for kids. I take reptiles, ponies.
So you have a service-based business?
Yeah.
All right, so that's a good question. So that's a good thing. Is crowdfunding the right way to raise money for service-based businesses, or are they more kind of product equity-based businesses? Is Jennifer's business the right business for crowdfunding?
Well, let me ask you, Jennifer, if you were going to do a crowdfunding campaign today, what would you offer as a reward?
Well, probably a service, or a birthday party, or, a photo shoot with a snake or a horse, something like that. And the thing is because I've been in business for about 4.5 years, what I'm trying to do now is I'm leasing a property currently in Sun Valley. I want to get a permanent location, so I want to open up a zoo, where instead of me having to go out to the public can come to me. And that's essentially what I'm trying to find funding for.
First of all, say that you've been in business 4.5 years if you're going to do your campaign. That is a huge differentiator for you. There are a lot of people who are just like getting started and they just have an idea. The fact that you've been at this is awesome. That's going to really help you out.
And the fact that you have like a tangible, this is what I'm hoping to do, not just like, hey, I'm just trying to raise money, that you're like, this is what this contribution will allow me to do. Okay. That's really helpful.
You might want to also consider, if you're going to open up a zoo, actually naming the cages or whatever it is after some of your contributors.
Yeah.
Think about some of the non-tangible items that you could offer.
And things that they can only get by
like the boom mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what people had already referred to, is there some type of humane group that would really want to help promote something about some animal, and could you give some animal some special treatment or rescue an animal and make it part of what you're doing? Those things would capture the attention and have real interest for people other than your business, which I'm sure you care about, but why should other people care about it? So give them a reason like that. Get a larger group that has distribution involved.
Let's do one more example. Someone else is raising, by the way, thank you, Jennifer. Someone else is raising money and want to use a crowdfunding platform. Right here, sir. What's your name? You got the mic coming?
My name is Max Hamami.
And Max, what's the business that you want to use crowdfunding to raise money for?
It's a water-saving device for the shower.
And how much would this water-saving device cost, just out of curiosity?
How much does it cost?
Like, how much do you imagine you'll sell it for when it's up and ready?
Probably about $29.99.
Okay, and is it built out, or are you going to raise the money to build out the prototype?
How much do I need for that?
I'm saying, have you built it out yet, or have you built out have you built it out at all yet, or are you starting?
I have the prototype coming in about a week.
All right. So Lorenzo, I mean, that seems in some ways similar to what you were doing. What advice do you have for Max?
Well, I pretty much brought it to a almost finished level. As far as I ordered my container from China and I needed $15,000 to pay off the factory. So, yeah.
So you had done a lot more work of the prep and everything you needed to.
I was already pretty much towards the end of the whole, R&D
And do you think
process.
that helped you raise money, that people kind of knew the product was there ready to go and you could
Yeah, then I could deliver the product to them pretty shortly after it was shipped here.
What other advice do we have for Max to help Max be successful?
I would just explain it or videotape what it does and make it as clear as possible to the people, and your journey to get to this point and what it does and how much water it saves, obviously, and what's the benefit to the product.
One of the things that we had with a lot of our bad girls is think about who is going to be the most compelling person to tell your story if you're going to do your video. Maybe it's a combination of you and a customer, somebody who really benefits greatly from it. Particularly if you're in service-based industries or heartstring industries, it's great to not just have you be talking on your video, but also have one of your customers. So that's one thing that's worked in the past.
So Max, what she's advising is get somebody else in the shower with you, turn on a video camera.
You know what? That will
and
probably
I think
end
you're gonna
up
have
somewhere on
the key to success.
YouTube quickly.
I think we got
sure.
time for one more. Let's take one more example of someone who's, right there, that hand went
stories
up like nobody's business, right? What's your name, sir?
My name is Bryce, and my company is The Recycle. It's 100% recycled aluminum content bicycles, first in the world of their kind.
Cool. So bicycles that are made from all recycled content.
Yeah. I have the prototypes. We're ready to go for manufacturing, and I'm raising money for the first 50 bikes. My question would be more about, so when I'm giving rewards, sure, I can give you a bike if you want to spend $1,800 to $2,500. On top of that, all my merchandise is also 100% recycled. So I expect a lot of people to be like, okay, here's $50, give me a t-shirt. What's the success rate if your product is a higher price point?
Well, so I have, one of my bad girls is Terra Strinua, and they have this product called the Nix, which is like a cot that's like, it's a really thin cot that you can take backpacking with you and all that kind of stuff, and it's $1,100, so it's also relatively expensive. And what she did is she offered, a water bottle at one level, and her merchandise all the way up to the cot. 60% of what she raised, though, were people buying the cot. They wanted to buy the product. So having your bikes ready to go, I think, will be important, because I think that whatever you offer along the line will be helpful, but people really want to buy the product that you're making, the one that's your cornerstone product.
And so, tying off of that, what are some things that someone who would want a bike would be interested in? Like, is it a water bottle? What are things that a bicycle enthusiast who loves recycled material, what else would they be interested in seeing? And bolster your perks with those as well, but ultimately, yeah, have a product ready.
Chance, are folks like this going to use, are they going to use the equity-based funding platform, or like what's the difference in companies that you're going to see that would use a platform like Crowdfunder to do an equity-based transaction?
Oftentimes the contribution-based raise that exists today, or people who are doing those, you could call that marketing. It's great marketing, especially if it's a pre-sale model. That's successful. That's a good concern. Is a $2,500 pre-sale, am I going to get the scale of distribution and enough people to want to fork over $2,500 when they see my video for a product they can't really touch in their hand? That's a different set of things than I want to capitalize my business. And pre-selling something, you can capitalize your business. So there is a really wonderful area of overlap, but then there's this new piece of, I don't have a consumer product that I'm trying to market. I have a business that I want to capitalize and then return money. So those are separate things.
Yeah, real quick. One last question to the panel, and feel free to shamelessly promote each of your services. Like may the winner emerge. I just heard a statistic that there are already almost 500 crowdfunding platforms.
530.
Thank you, attorney, for correcting me there. 530 crowdfunding platforms. Oh wait, now there's 531.
Yeah. It was as of July.
And there'll probably be 5,000 pretty soon. How do all the folks here, and how does anyone who wants to use crowdfunding pick amongst all the platforms, and how do they find the right one for them?
I think, first of all, speaking for crowdfund investing, what we're looking at is a capital market, not an internet niche. What a capital market is a stock market, if you will. When the stock market opened in the US, the exchange, there wasn't one investment bank who said, I'm Goldman Sachs, I'm going to be the only stock market person to service the stock market as an investment bank. That's not how it works. They're going to be players. They're going to serve different niches. They're for different groups and communities and for people. And that's a good thing because people will self-select in a community. With that said...
so how do folks find the right thing for them?
Well, you should choose a good name. Crowdfunder is probably a really good name. Now, what you want to see is success demonstrated, right? Success stories, I think, speak more loudly than anything. So what are the resources being provided? What insight does that platform give you in process, in standardization, in knowledge about how to do a successful raise that helps you? And what are the outcomes that are coming from that platform? Those are some of the things you should look for. And is there a community that's there that would care about you and what you're doing.
What else, Karen? What do you think as one of the leaders in the space so far?
Kate?
Oh my God, I called you Karen twice, didn't I? Excuse me.
So for Indiegogo, our platform, I'm gonna need this shameless promotion one, but what our platform does is allows anybody to raise money for anything at any time. So it's an open platform where any project is welcome and loved and accepted, and there's no application process. As soon as you want to start a campaign, you can. And as well, it's a global platform where campaigns can start anywhere in the world and contributions can come from anywhere in the world. So anything is welcome on Indiegogo.
I think one of the big things you'll see too, which is a huge differentiator, is we're more interested in creating a social network for you as a business owner to display all the value of yourself, your history, your team, your work experience, and all the people involved.
So is it my turn yet?
Yes, it's your turn, but that's one of the things we're focused on. Sorry, I didn't feel like I was shamelessly promoting, but now I am. Please go ahead.
I'm kidding. So I'm going to pitch you, Lorenzo, because you're the type of business that I want to work with. That's for those of you, I would tell you, go to Indiegogo right now and run a campaign on Indiegogo. Learn how it works. Test it out. So I'm pitching you first, Kate. But then once you've run your campaign
Don't you mean Karen? No, okay.
Successfully or unsuccessfully, either way, that's when you come to us next. And so for you, Lorenzo, now that you've done your first big campaign and you're working on production, that's when we want you to come to SomoLend, because we can help you leverage the money that you've raised to get you to that next big step. And so, we're not equity, we're not rewards based. We're meant for businesses who already have some sales, who are looking to ramp up to the next level.
Yeah, I think
and we're live today, by the way, and we're lending money. So
I think it's about the fact that the raise is half the battle. The other half is putting your company in the position to be successful long term, to apply that money to building the company. So you're gonna want to work with a platform that's looking for the long term growth of your company and setting you up to succeed.
Cool. Awesome. All right, with that, I want to thank all the panelists for providing some wisdom for us on the crowdfunding. Thank you all for coming out, and look forward to seeing you all in the conversation. I think this